Welcome to Rate the Audits, where we put misconduct on display, explore police and legal content, protect rights and demand accountability. This episode is brought to us by To Plod or Not To Plod. Be sure to check the link below and subscribe to his channel and give him the credit he deserves in this episode. To Plod or Not To Plod. The video advocates for the protection of civil liberties, transparency in public services, and professionalism in law enforcement interactions. It calls attention to the importance of respecting legal rights while fostering constructive relationships between police and the community. Do you need a purpose to film? No, I do not need a purpose to film in public. This is my legal right. If you are questioning me, could you first identify yourself properly by stating your name and badge number clearly?
You alright?
I'm good, thank you.
What are you filming for?
Pardon?
What are you filming for?
For my own purpose.
What purpose is that?
My own.
Pardon?
My own.
Right, okay. What's the matter, Steve?
Do I need a purpose to film?
What?
Do I need a purpose to film?
Well, normally you do.
No, I don't.
Just let the van get out.
Well, first of all, could you identify yourself?
Show the numbers there.
We get worried when people film outside due to terrorism concerns. Are you implying that I am a terrorist? If not, why bring up terrorism? When was the last time a police station was targeted by terrorists? The last bombing of a police station happened in 1972. Your concern seems unfounded and disproportionate.
If you could actually say what the numbers are, please. Not everyone can actually read them.
1171 NA. No
Thank
worries.
you.
So what's the purpose of filming today?
For my own purpose.
Yeah, what's the purpose?
My own purpose.
Just what's the purpose? then?
Because I want to film.
Okay. Obviously, when we see people filming outside, we get a little bit worried.
Yeah.
There's terrorism, things like that.
Okay, so
That's
you're calling
why we
me a
asked.
terrorist?
I'm asking your purpose.
Okay. Well then, can you tell me then the last time when a police station was actually hit by a terrorist?
Well, that's not the point.
Okay,
Is it?
yes it is the point, because it's predominantly, okay, it will be the public that will get hit by terrorists, not the police.
I think that's incorrect.
No, it's not incorrect. You've only got to look at past events, okay, and you will actually see that. And then
Okay.
when you look at the last
PCP
police
farmer?
station, the last police station that actually
About
got hit by a
PCP
bomb,
farmer?
okay, was in
That got stabbed by a
1972.
terrorist. How about that?
Okay, yeah, that was a stabbing.
Yeah, that's a terrorist act.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So then, if that's the case, then should we then talk about a certain officer that killed a young woman when he
That
was
wasn't
in
a
uniform?
terrorist act.
No, but that was a member of the
incorrect.
police. That was a member of the police, okay, that
Police, we can use Section 43 of the Terrorism Act to stop you. Section 43 requires reasonable suspicion of terrorist activity. What reasonable grounds do you have to suspect me of terrorism? If you misuse Section 43 without valid grounds, it constitutes an abuse of power. Additionally, the IOPCC memo from 2020 explicitly states that filming police stations from public areas is lawful.
actually killed a member of the public.
Right.
Okay.
So what's
So,
the point of that and terrorism?
because it's my right, okay,
I'm not saying it's
to
not your
film,
right, but I'm asking
okay,
why you're filming.
because I can.
Yeah, but for what reason? So you've come
My
out here
own
today-
reason. My
you've
own
come out
reason.
here today,
I don't need to explain to you why I want to film.
But we're asking you why. I mean, we've got powers under the Terrorist Act.
What,
to
Section
search
43?
You, to search you.
And
to
if
search
you
your
use
phone.
Section 43, okay, it will be unlawful for one.
For why?
Okay,
Why is
because
that?
it's my lawful right,
Right.
and if you actually read the actual memo that got sent by the IOPCC, back in 2020, right, it will actually state that people can actually film a police station,
Yeah.
okay, police staff, police vehicles, okay, and Section 43 should not be used, okay, in
But
that
what about
actual
hostile
event.
reconnaissance? What about that?
Okay,
What
do you-
if we see you filming outside a police station?
Okay, well
and it
then,
could be viewed as
let me put
hostile
it to you this way.
reconnaissance?
I'll put it very bluntly. Okay, if you believe, okay, that it is, okay, then if you contact the counter-terrorism
Well, we
squad.
haven't got time for that. If it's
Well,
terrorism,
no.
is
If
there?
you
We haven't
believe
got
that,
time for that.
well, I'm just standing here.
Right.
Okay, if
What
you
do you think
believe, if you
terrorists
believe that, okay, then you contact them.
Well, no.
Okay, but
so I'm
also
looking
as
at my
well, what are
camera,
your
you-
reasonable grounds? What
Right,
are your
so you're
reasonable
outside,
grounds?
So you've waited for a van to come out. How do I know you're not going to run in when you're filming a police station? What for? It could be for the exits.
Well, this is
Could
a
be
public
for the
footpath.
entrances.
This is a public
But you ain't-
footpath.
That's not public.
It makes no difference.
So
I
that's
can film.
private.
I can film.
Yeah, so we've come out.
It,
we're asking
hang on, you
why.
say that that's private, okay? That is owned by the public.
But it's
okay.
private. You need a pass to get in.
Who's going
It's
in?
not- it's
I'm
not
not getting in.
public ground.
I'm not getting in.
So I've asked you.
You made a
why
presumption
are you-
that I may
why-
go in.
Well, Yeah, of course.
Okay, you made a presumption.
We can't take that chance because
Yeah, I know.
apparently terrorists don't attack us. They do. I
Okay.
just gave an example, haven't I? A few years ago.
And then should we then talk about actual people then that get abused?
Why are you filming public services like this? I am filming because it is my right as a citizen to document public services funded by taxpayers. Transparency is important. If your concern is about public safety, how does questioning someone filming on a public footpath contribute to that?
Used by the police on a daily basis.
Is that what you're filming for?
Okay.
Are you seeing if police are abusing people within the custody?
Well, yeah, you tried to say about using Section 43, okay, and that would have been an abuse of power.
Well, it's not an abuse of
You
power.
said the terrorism, yeah, which is a completely lawful activity. It's a completely lawful activity.
Right.
It's a lawful activity.
You're not letting me speak at all,
It makes no
are you?
difference.
Well,
Good afternoon.
Hello, have you spoken to one of our colleagues earlier?
I've spoken to several of your colleagues.
At the police station, yeah?
Yeah.
Like, as in out here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Could you identify yourself for
Yes,
me, please?
PC McKenna, 1263.
Thank you very much.
why do you get so anti when police come and speak to you?
I'm not anti.
Surely it's a good thing.
No, I've had
that we're being protected
several
from our buildings.
good interactions here today.
Right.
Okay, with 3 other officers. I've had
Okay.
some really nice interactions with them.
Okay. So
Right,
you're saying this isn't a
and
nice
not one of them even attempted to bring up to do with terrorists.
Well, the first thing
Not
I see
one of
when
them.
people come outside a police building and start filming, that's the first thing I see. That's what I think. That's it.
Well, then you need to actually rethink your actual mindset, okay?
I don't think so.
Well, yes, you do, okay? And when you see a member of the public, whether or not they're filming or not, okay, maybe if you actually approach and said, can I help you, okay, like you did when you stuck your head out the van,
I did.
okay, but then it should be, okay, is there anything else I can do for you, whatever, okay? I should be allowed to carry on and do what I'm lawfully allowed to
I've
do,
allowed you to. You've been filming me for ages.
okay,
So I've allowed you to.
okay? Well, it's not about you allowing me to,
You've just told me to allow you to.
it's not about you allowing me to, it's something that I'm rightfully within my rights to do so.
Right. Okay. You've just told me to allow you to. I have for about 10 minutes now. So.
What's
Okay.
what's your first name?
I won't give my name.
Okay. What are you auditing? Just out of interest.
Pardon?
You're auditing, right?
I am,
What
correct.
Are you auditing?
A public building, okay, and a public service.
What is it? Just the
You could be gathering information for malicious purposes. Any information I can gather here is already publicly available on platforms like Google Earth. My presence here does not pose any additional risk. If you suspect malicious intent, why not escalate this to counter-terrorism authorities rather than harassing a citizen exercising their rights?
amount of police officers come out, or the vehicles? And
No, just whatever I can see. Just whatever I can see. Whether or not a vehicle comes out, okay, an officer comes out, makes no difference. I'll film whatever I can see.
Is it just police stations you do, or do you go into any other
Any public service.
So like a library? Would you go to a
Okay,
library?
yep.
Fire brigade?
Yep.
Okay. I'm literally just
Yeah, no,
having scoping. Just
it's anything that the
finding out.
public. It's anything that the public pay for.
And what
Okay,
do you do
that's a
with
public
that
service.
information?
It all depends. It all depends.
On what you see?
Yeah, I use it for my own personal interest.
Okay. And how many hours do you put in a week, would you say?
That's
doing that?
irrelevant to how many hours I put in.
Oh, do you enjoy it?
I do enjoy it, yeah. So because at the moment, and especially with the Met, and then even then if you look at homicide police, okay, there is a massive divide between the public and the police.
yeah,
There is a
unfortunately.
massive divide,
Yeah.
okay, and that divide is something that needs to be closed because we need a police force
agree.
without
I
any
agree
shadow of
completely.
doubt. It's very important that we have one.
Yeah. It's a good relationship.
Okay.
That's why initially PCSOs were introduced. Initially.
Yeah, but then now there's loads of mixed views to do with that, okay, whether or not that was the actual right thing or was it actually about actually trying to get trained officers in.
What
They
do you
are
mean?
trained officers.
Well, no,
They're
they're
civil, weren't they? But
yeah, okay.
I used to
They're
be PCSO.
they're not in the same level as you guys as constables.
No.
They're not in the same level.
They don't have the same powers.
yeah,
Correct.
as such. Yeah, it's not that
Okay.
they've got their own job. It's not the same level. It's just that they don't.
Yeah, they've been
have
put
the same
in
powers. The bridge.
as a replacement, okay, to what used to be the whole old home beat officers. Okay, where they go out onto different estates.
That's
okay,
you've
and
kind
try
of
and
got them,
engage.
You've got safer neighbourhoods, haven't you?
Yeah.
So then you've got the PCSOs that are attached to the safer neighbourhoods. The majority of them, not all of them, obviously, and they're trying to bridge that gap. So is that what you're trying to like look into then?
Well, yeah, it's to see how the police actually feel, okay, to do with it. And that's why I said I've had some good interactions where an officer came out to me, he turned around and went, "You're auditing?" I went, "Yes."
Do you understand why we come up and question you?
Yeah,
there's
but
a lot of people that, as you've already said, there's a lot of people that really don't like us.
yeah, I welcome any interaction. But as soon as you try and say about the terrorist act, okay, and all the rest of it, okay, then that is when, okay, it won't go down the same line as what a normal civil conversation would have been.
That's what we try to notice, and that's what it is linked with, because people gather information from police buildings, and then they use that information and unfortunately become quite...
We need to know your purpose for filming. I do not need to justify my actions as long as they are lawful. My purpose is personal, and I am under no obligation to disclose it. Your insistence on questioning me without cause creates unnecessary tension between the police and the public.
Well, any place really. It could be a tube station, train station.
Yeah, well, just remember, everything that I'm filming now, okay, can also be seen on Google Earth.
Right.
Okay, the only difference is the actual interaction, okay, between myself and officers, because I can see the whole police station and everything from Google Earth.
But
okay,
you'll be able to see how
many people come in and out, what times the people come in and out.
I'm curious. Just to,
I don't care how many officers go in and out. I don't care what times they go in and out.
Okay.
I'm not here for that.
But when I came out, straight away I said, "Oh, what are you doing?" And you didn't want to tell me. But if you just said, "I do an audit, I do it on all public buildings," then it would have been...
But I don't have to justify what I'm doing.
But I'm asking you a question. Just
yes.
Like if we walked past in the street and you wanted to ask me a question, I'd answer it.
And I said, what did I turn around and say to you what I was doing?
A purpose.
Okay.
That's it.
For my own interest.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you didn't say your own interest. You said a purpose.
Yeah, my own purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you look at it, my own purpose is my own business.
Right.
Okay. And if I don't wish to tell you what that business is, I do not have to tell you what that business is.
Okay, but when you're videoing places like this, you can't like get all angsty when people come and ask you.
So then,
it's our job to come and ask and make sure it's safe.
So then, do you go up to everybody then that's filming Buckingham Palace, okay, and 10 Downing Street, and stop them all?
That's not my job to do that.
Do you go round to every single place, like even then when you look at the Olympic Park, okay, that's not far from here, even then when you look at that, okay, do you walk up to everyone that's got a camera?
It's not my job.
Okay, do you walk up to everyone who you can see with a phone?
This is just a normal police station, isn't it?
Yep, and this is just, and I'm just a normal member of the public with a phone.
The first thought is, well, why is he filming? And that's what's come last year.
Okay, so, and that's why I said to you that instead of actually doing it exactly as you've done, okay, and you've been very polite and very professional, and I will say that, and that's how a conversation should be fully conducted, exactly how it was with the other officers that I spoke to previously.
So what's your plan for the rest of the day? You're going to carry on monitoring?
I have no idea yet. I have no idea. I just take it stage by stage.
I only know because I've spoken to the officers that stopped you earlier. If you continue to film, probably more officers are going to ask you what you're doing.
And that's fine. That's fine. And I welcome any interaction.
Well, you didn't really welcome mine, but no worries.
Well, maybe you should look at the way that you actually approach first.
But you said I was fine in the van.
Okay, yeah, and it was when you got out, your tone changed.
Right.
Okay.
You said it was when I mentioned the terrorism act, which was a good 10 minutes into the conversation.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. The camera footage will actually show that. Also, as well, you didn't have that on straight away. Okay. Okay. And just make sure, okay, that does actually get kept, because I will be requesting a copy of that.
For a policing purpose, it can get kept. So I have to justify why I've kept.
No.
Yes, I do.
Once I put in a request, okay, I had 30 days before it is actually deleted.
Correct.
Okay,
so
and it's in that time. Okay, and it's in that time that I will request a copy of it.
Okay,
and that's why I said, okay,
but
please
other
make
than
sure.
A policing purpose, we can't save our body.
Okay.
It has to be for a policing purpose.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
And this is a policing purpose.
What's the purpose?
Okay, because we're having an interaction. Okay, and if you actually look, or even on the Met's own website, okay.
We don't record every interaction.
I know you don't, but you are recording this interaction.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's why I said I will request a copy of it.
No problem. But like I said, I can't save it unless it's for a policeman.
Okay.
Which is fine. All right.
You seem anxious when we approach you. I am not anxious, I am simply standing up for my rights. If anything, your aggressive questioning creates unnecessary tension. Why don't you just explain what you're doing? I have explained that I am filming for personal reasons. Beyond that, I am not obligated to provide further details unless I am suspected of committing a crime.
Or
Yep, no worries.
you can call up 101, which I'll write on here, and you can say, I would like to make a complaint about police. Okay? Do you want to just find the chemicals? And they will be able to make a complaint for you on the phone. They'll be able to sort it out. Okay, and someone will contact you.
You are talking about on the telephone? Or
Yeah. So if you call up on your phone 101 and just say, I'd like to make a complaint to the police.
So a question, what are you auditing now by just filming me listening to these?
I'm not listening to him.
No, me listening to them. I am.
Okay.
So I'm asking, like, what's the purpose of you
There's no
filming me
actual,
just stood?
like, working front office
Just
here.
curious,
So
like,
make
I'm just
complaints.
curious why.
The complaints
Because
go on the phone,
you're
the telephone number, which is
an officer on duty, okay, looking very unprofessional with your hands tucked in your actual body warmer.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're not allowed to put our hands in our pockets.
Yeah, I know. Well, that looks even worse.
But
That
we're
looks
not
even
allowed-
worse.
That's fine, but we're allowed to do
Okay.
this. We're
Yeah, I
not allowed
know,
to
but
put our hands
it
in our
looks a lot
pockets.
worse. Trust me, it looks a lot worse.
Okay, that's fine, but we've got rules. I'm not allowed to put my hands in my pockets.
Okay.
They're a lot more accessible from here compared to down here.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of rules that are there. Okay, i.e. to do with the way that you also identify as well. Okay, it's like where you first actually just sort of dipped your shoulder.
We are allowed to record interactions for policing purposes. Rebuttal, that's fine, but I will be requesting a copy of this footage under my rights as a citizen. Please ensure it is preserved for transparency.
And then pointed at your actual
But
number.
if you listen to the thing, I say that's my number 1171NA, and then you say, can you actually say it?
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. You did not say your number,
I did.
okay?
You can
No,
watch
you did
back.
not.
That's
I
fine.
actually asked for your number.
But I'd already said it once.
No, you hadn't.
Okay, we can watch that back later, no worries. I mean, you've got it all on camera, so I wouldn't lie, would I? I said it, that's my number, 1171NA. And you said, can you say it so we people can't wait? Fair enough. But I'd already said it.
If you had said it, I would have heard it.
Alright, that's no problem. So the reason you're recording me is because I've got my hands in my neck vest. That's correct, yeah?
Well, I'm standing in public.
No, I'm just asking
I'm
what's
filming
the
in public.
purpose of filming me just stood. That's all.
Well, you're still here with me, okay? So I'm still filming.
Ready? Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Have a good day. Take care.